Hi everyone. We actually have a huge wind warning at our house, and that might be why my hair is looking pretty weird. We've got some pretty bad weather, some snow and wind, and so when the weather gets like that, it's a good time to hunker down, cozy up, and start crafting. And so a couple of videos ago, I showed you some homemade papers that I made for Halloween, and then I had someone request that I show you how I actually make those papers using Google Images. And so let's just take a minute and I'm going to show you that, and then we're going to do a fun quick project using some Hanukkah paper that I made. And if you stay to the end, I'll tell you one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever had with my wacky hair. And so let's get busy making our own custom paper. Okay, so to create some colorful paper of my own, I'm in Google and I'm going into Google Images and I'm going to type in what I'm looking for. So I want some Hanukkah pictures, and I'm going to show you what comes up. So we get a lot of photographs, and then I'm going to go into Tools up here at the top and into Type. And I'm really looking for a clip art kind of image. But you can see these are all individual images. And what I want is a whole group of images. So I'm going to type in Hanukkah seamless image. And now look what comes up. It looks like wrapping paper or decorative paper. So I'm going to look through this and find an image that I really like. And there are certain things you need to look for. One of the things we want to avoid are any images with an obvious watermark, because that will show up in your paper. One thing I do want to point out about using Google Images for your paper, if you are making something that you are selling, you cannot use just any paper. So if you come up into Tools and into Usage Rights, Creative Commons licenses are things that you are allowed to use and sell, but look, it is also very limited what you are allowed. So if you are making something you'd like to sell, I would recommend that you actually come into some of these things along the top. These are papers for sale, and a lot of them are, as you see here, like digital paper pattern that's printable. So you could go into Etsy and buy that paper pattern, and then you can still go ahead and print the number of papers that you would like for that. So just be careful. If it's something you're going to sell, make sure you are not taking paper from people who have worked hard to create it. But if it's something you're using on your own for your own things, as far as I understand it, and if I'm wrong, please comment below that you're okay to use the images here for things that, as long as you're not selling it, that it's just for your own purposes. So what I'm going to do, I like this image right here. So I'm going to look to see if it looks like side to side and top to bottom it would connect. So I can see, if I'm looking over here at the right, that this apple in the bowl will connect over with this side of the bowl. The scroll will connect here, and top to bottom I can see I've got the Star of David, and I've got different fruits and vegetables. That is what a seamless image is. It connects side to side. And so that's the image I'm going to choose. So on that image, I am going to right click, select copy image. So I'm going to copy that. Now I'm going to come down to Word, and I am going to open up a new Word document. Now what I want to do is move my margins, because let me show you. If I paste that image that I put in there, with my margins set here, I cannot move it and fill up this gap at the edge. So I'm going to move my margin and see how the image moves, and I'm going to move it on both sides so that I can fill up side to side. And then I'm going to come to my top and bottom margin that's here on the left, and I am going to move that up to the top, and then I'm going to come down, and I'm going to move my bottom margin so that I can fill in that whole paper and create my Hanukkah paper. Now, I don't want the image this big, so I am going to resize this, and I know that this paper is 8.5 by 11, and then I can resize this, and I can watch my ruler up here and see when I've gotten that to right about 4.25, and that's the size I wanted. Now, I'm going to do one other thing, and then I'm going to copy this image. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go to Wrap Text Tight. And that means I can put images right next to each other and it won't jump around the page. So now that I have resized and wrapped it, I'm going to right click and do copy. And then I can right click again and paste and see how that next image comes up. And I can line it up, lining up the bowl of the fruit, the sufganio, the menorah, everything. And I'm going to look to make sure I don't have a line that is left between those, a small gap. Now I can come back through and paste again and bring it right up close and just keep doing this where I'm just pasting and bringing it up close. Now I wanted to show you, sometimes it looks like you're right on, but see this line down here? You don't want to leave any gap at all. So then you're just going to really tight move that over and make sure that all of the pieces are aligned without a gap. Okay, now when we get to this bottom area, I don't want to leave that much gap at the bottom of my paper because I want to be able to use it up. So I'm going to click on that, and then I'm going to come up here and pick Picture Format and Crop over here on the right. And I'm going to pick Crop. And then when I do this, see these black outlines? That means you are now enabled to crop. So I'm just going to bring that up about as far as I think it's going to take up. I might go a little longer just in case. And then I'm going to enter, and it cuts that piece. And it looks like I'm going to have to go about 1/3 of an inch more. So back to Picture Format and Crop. And now I can go just a little more. Okay, now that I have that position just right, and I'm just going to ignore this thing at the bottom. I don't care about that. Now that I have it cropped and ready, I am going to copy that piece so that I don't have to crop again, and just paste that in. And then I can bring it over here and get it lined up in its spot. There we go. Now, before I save or before I print, I like to take one last look and scan through, looking for any gaps, weird overlaps, places where I didn't quite line it up right. And when it looks good, I can go ahead and save that. Now, I have a file that I call Craft Paper where I have saved all kinds of things. And so I'm going to just call this Hanukkah. And this is quite colorful. And I usually save based on color because then it's easier for me to find again. Okay, and then it takes me back here. Now I can go ahead and print as many pages of that as I would like. And when you print, this warning is going to come up that there are no margins, that you've overlapped your margins, and it'll say, do you still want to print? So you just click yes, and then it will go ahead and print your paper. So I hope that helps you know how to make that paper. This is one of the papers I made using non-traditional Hanukkah colors, and I did it as 2 pages. I did this on one paper, and then just did page 2 in my Word document and did a stripe, and so created a 2-sided paper, which is really fun if you're making envelopes or something where you can see into the inside. And so that's just a fun idea. One of the other things I have been working on just over the last few days are some fun Christmas papers. And just like with Halloween, I was going with that kind of pastel, peach and pink and the mint green. I decided to find some images and make some Christmas paper also in those pinks and pastels. And here's one. I love doing these, and I think they're so much fun. And so it's actually a great way too to save money. Now, here's the little caveat to that is you do have to pay for the ink in your printer and the paper and everything. But I find that it's actually much cheaper to make my own than to buy it, and then I get it exactly the way I want it. One other thing is it's depending on your printer, you may be able to print onto cardstock, so you can get a heavy weight to make boxes and things. And this is one of the things coming up that I'm real excited to show you. I have a little gift box with some things that I'm excited about. And so when you make your own paper, you get to make the decisions about that. But one drawback is if your printer does not print cardstock, then you can't really do any of that heavy paper that we might be using for boxes and things. So let's go on to today's quick fun craft. I'm really excited to show you this project that I'm going to make using my Hanukkah paper. And this is really easy, really straightforward, and really you can adjust this for any holiday. You could do this for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, and it's just really simple and straightforward. And there are just so many variations you can do. And so I'm starting with a larger card than I normally make. This one is, so we're at 9 across total and 6 up and down. So I'm going to be mailing this or giving this in one of the larger 6-inch envelopes. And so just plan on that. This isn't your standard card size, and you'll find out why in just a minute. And so the papers that I'm using those sort of non-traditional Hanukkah colors, the more of the teal rather than the true blue. And I've got some of these different papers, but you'll see really quickly and easily how this card goes together. So we're going to start right on the outside and just work straight through it. And the first thing I'm going to do is just put a background of this pretty Hanukkah paper. And I'm going to go ahead and use a tape runner rather than glue. I generally like a tape runner or two-sided adhesive best because they hold down. And I like the Elmer's tape runner because, boy, it sticks. And you've got to get it right the first time because there's no taking it back off. So I'm just going to get that centered right down in there. And if it is with card making like this, there's something to keep in mind that if it's just slightly off, you know what, that's part of the handmade charm. And I try to get it as exact as possible. But there is something kind of fun about just that sort of handmade look where everything is not absolutely perfect. And I really like this 2-inch wide tape. It's actually one of my favorite new things, and I will link my supplies below so that you'll know where I get these. And this is the reason I like the 2-inch tape, is it's just so easy to go ahead and apply your tape all around. So I kind of go between tape runner, the wide tape, and the adhesive sheets. Those are my favorites. So I'm just going to trim that off. There we go. And that just puts such a good amount of adhesive on very quickly. Okay, so then I'm going to just take off that back side of the tape. And I think I want that put on straight. And I've got my Hanukkah, my menorahs on here to help me line it up. There. And so I'm really liking these shades of other colors. And I have had a lot of my scrapbook paper for so long. I don't know what it's called. I don't know where I got it. So I'm sorry about that. But you have your paper and you can go and mix and match and create those looks that you like. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about this sticker that I'm putting on the front. There we go. Just like I made my Hanukkah papers, I went in and made some Hanukkah stickers and cut aparts. And so same thing with Google Images that I showed you. I did the same thing and just found some sentiments. This one I found the menorah, but I added my own writing down there because that's what I wanted. So there you go. There's our front, very straightforward. Okay, so now let's get to the inside here. I'm going to put this background so that I have the menorahs on the one side, and then on the back side I've got a real pretty stripe. Looks like my tape runner just ran out. So let's get this centered. Okay. And then I want to, this is the area where you can write a personal note. So I'm just going to go ahead and add some white down there. I'm looking at that and I think I want that trimmed down just a little. Sometimes when I'm making a card, I'll start putting it together and then I decide I want to change it. Yeah, I like that better. And I like that we've got the detail back there, but it's not too busy. Let me go ahead and change my tape runner here. And I showed this in one of my recent, in my paper organization video about keeping refills close to your desk so that things like this don't derail your project and put you behind. You don't have to stop and be looking all around trying to find your refills. They're just really close to your desk and then you're good to go again. I like a new refill because it flows so smoothly when you first refill. As you go on, it gets a little stiffer. Just going to eyeball that. Okay, now comes the real fun part of this card. So what I'm going to do is take this piece here and I am going to attach to this back corner this decorative paper. And because what we're going to do is fold back a corner so that we have a little bit more decoration. So I'm going to very carefully put this down so it goes all the way up into this corner over here, because I am going to actually fold that corner back and create a pocket. So I'm going to get that down nice and smooth. Okay. Now I want to fold this back. I think I would like to score that so that I can get a nice fold. So I'm going to just hold my ruler and come with my bone folder and just do a nice score there. There we go. That way I get a nice even fold. Great. Now I'm going to go ahead and do my tape runner here so I can hold that corner down. There we go. And I wanted that a little bit jaunty. Now what I'm going to do is glue this onto this back, but I'm creating a pocket. So I'm actually going to use my my thin two-sided tape, and I'm going to put it right at the edge, because where I'm making a pocket, I want it to make sure that there's a lot of space here in the middle. All right. I'm just going to go ahead and take off those tape parts. There we go. And now I'm going to line this up and stick it down. Okay. There we go. Now I want to do a little bit of decoration, but let's make sure. So what I have here is just a packet of cocoa. And so that cocoa is going to slide right in that pocket and just peek out. Now let's talk about other things you could do. You could do a packet of tea. You could do a gift card. You could do money. Now to bring in a little bit more of that fun winter vibe, I'm going to use some of these stickers that I have on here. I could also do stamping on that part. This is a great little teacher gift, a great neighbor gift. That will have to go as a package if you mail it, because anything over 1/4 of an inch has to go as a package. But of course you could do that, or just put it in your envelope and hand deliver it to the neighbors. It could be left on a doorstep. This could be one of the 8 nights of Hanukkah. So there are some ideas for using your homemade decorative papers and even cut aparts that you can make. There's just so much that you can do. So I hope you'll start experimenting with the holidays that are coming up. You could take a little something like this to someone for Thanksgiving. You could even do several of these and turn it into a gift card box. But just to remember that it doesn't have to be cocoa. It could be tea or money or a gift card or any number of other flat things. It could be a photograph. Just so many things that you could put in that space. There are just so many things that you can do with these homemade papers, and I hope you've enjoyed that craft today. Now let me, for those of you who stayed to the end, I'll tell you just this goofy thing that happened to me one day in Costco about my hair. So I was there with my daughter Kate when she was pretty little, and we were just looking around Costco, and all of a sudden this woman came up to me and handed me her business card and said, hey, give me a call because I can help you do something about that hair. I was so embarrassed. Of course, I never called her because I was too embarrassed to call. Okay, so whatever it is that you've got going on, I hope everything's going well. I want to tell you thank you to those of you who have subscribed and who have been supporting my channel. It is such a great help, and I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed, I hope you will. Make sure you keep an eye out for this little gift box. I'm not showing it very closely. This little gift box project that I'll have coming up for Hanukkah. And of course, many more holiday things. I don't know if you can see behind me, I've got some things I'm lining up, getting ready to show you in a video or two. And so please subscribe and make sure you join us for those things. And we'll see you next time.